There is something changing in Europe across the whole of the continent. We've now recently had the Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson coming out to apologize to the people of Sweden for going too far with globalism and too far with reliance on the European Union. It's been absolutely fascinating seeing the Scandinavians, as well as, of course, the other European countries, standing up to the European Union's ultra globalist agenda. And we now have, for example, Anderson, who has come out recently to say that multiculturalism has gone too far. She said segregation has been allowed to go so far that we have parallel societies in Sweden. We live in the same country, but in completely different realities. This is the same Sweden who, just like Germany until a few years ago, took the same approach. They opened the doors and they said, well, we don't really have a national identity. So what we are going to be doing is we're going to become internationalists. We are going to go for the Star Trek fantasy world. Well, in reality, they were trying to compete with Denmark. They called Denmark hard right. You guys are so anti-progress. And, well, Denmark kept warning countries like Sweden and the rest of the European Union, saying you guys are making a big mistake. And now we have the Swedish government apologizing and realizing that the policy of integration has not really worked because it's led to segregation. She continues by saying that integration has been too poor at the same time as we have had a large immigration. Society has been too weak. Resources for the police and social services have been weak too. This is something that I wouldn't guess a few years ago to actually hear from countries like Sweden. There have been always a wave inside these countries, Eurosceptic wave, but usually they've been shutting them down. Usually you're not allowed to debate these sort of things. Even in Denmark, until about a decade ago, you had to just be a normal social democrat and embrace liberalism. But in reality now, they are embracing their own flag and national identity. That's not the only news there that we have. We also have seen Sweden recently, especially over the last couple of years, clashing with the European Union when it comes to centralizing more powers in Brussels. All the Nordic countries and some of the, again, fiscally conservative and kind of financially responsible countries like Finland and the Netherlands, who are lashing out against Ursula von der Leyen and against the whole of the clique in Brussels. And this is why the domino effect that started in 2016 when we voted to leave the European Union, we always said, don't expect an instant wave. But this is the beginning of the end for the European project. And the best way to do it is to contain the situation so that we could actually go back to the basic concept of nationalism, patriotism. Because if you don't do it now, if you put a lid on it again, then chaos will happen. Go back, protect your national identities, and you can still be internationalists. You can still freely trade with other nations, cooperate with them, but don't have a foreign power telling you what to do and how to run your affairs. Brexit was right, and Sweden and other countries should follow the same footsteps. Subscribe to the channel. My Tousi, and we are the media.